The faster you can learn how to take advantage of any system or any business, the better off you're gonna be. As you build yourself up and invest into equipment, you're gonna make more money. So I said if I work 16 hours a day, I get all my time back. So I start forcing myself to work 16 hours a day.
What's some other ways we could generate some income with this recycling?
It has to work or it has to work.
Welcome to an episode of Circle of Greatness. I'm your host, Nehemiah Davis. And today I'm bringing you my brother, man. Such a phenomenal dude. One of the most hardest working dudes I know. Like, I'd be like, bro, I need to get you online. And this dude is a hard worker, is building a multi-million-dollar, like millions and millions and millions of dollars through recycling industry. So I wanted him to come on here and break down the industry, right? And then also just hear a story, because where he came from, where I came from, to be able to live the life that we're living now is powerful. So without further ado, my brother Salim. What up, bro?
What's up, bro?
Yeah, man. I know you're not a podcaster like that, but I gotta get you outside, man. Like, just your business acumen, just your hunger. It's unlike anything I ever seen. You a savage out here with just going to work, bro. Just grinding, man. How you feeling?
Feeling good, man. Trying to figure it out, man.
Yeah.
This is new to me.
Right.
I've been asking you about it. You know what I mean? I appreciate you bringing me on.
No, you out here,
your
bro.
Platform.
Yeah, happy to have you here, man. Just since I've met you, bro, like, I don't know how we initially met, but I was inspired. I want to say maybe the first thing was actually we did something for Flint.
Okay.
I put on the internet, like, we going to Flint, Michigan. Yeah. Let's go ahead and take some waters. You just came through pickup trucks with skids of waters, dog. I'm talking about cases and cases and cases, and we just ran them to Flint. So our first, I feel like, real encounter was just a giving back moment. Like, anytime I hit you, I'm like, bro, I'm redoing the courts. I need cash. You like, I got you, bro. We went to do something with Saul, came down and just blessed the kids for Christmas. It's just, you're constantly just showing love. So I just want to say, give you your flowers. That's how I appreciate you, bro.
Oh, man, it's all love. I feel like when you're in a position to help, it's your job to help.
Yeah.
So whenever you call me, mostly when anybody call me, if I can do it, I do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Where you develop this work ethic, bro? So since I'm talking about you own body shops. You own body shops, tow trucks, recycling plant. Like, I want to kind of know what made you get into this game. Like, who exposed you to this game? How did you get in the game? And how did you even develop? You got a crazy work ethic, dog. Like talk to me about it.
I think it's just willing to learn.
Yeah.
Like, as you going through life, you're experiencing different things. Like, it all started out in the beginning with just wanting to own a tow truck. And,
what made you want to do it? Where you hear about a tow truck or you saw it?
It was like, before I went away, everybody that know me know I went away. You know what I mean? I knew guys that was doing the business. It was something that was comfortable that, I ain't have too many restrictions. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna hustle up some money. I'm gonna buy a tow truck. Anybody that know, I started one tow truck. I slept in it for like the first year, coming home from prison.
Wow, you slept in the truck for the first
every day.
Yeah,
for the first year.
Wow.
Pretty much like giving myself 10 minutes out, take a shower, going back in. Everybody wanted to go home, be with their families at the time. I didn't want to live with my mom. I was like, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna sleep in this truck. Mom, I'm gonna come there, I'm gonna come take a shower, and that's about it. And being there, able to help the customers in their time of need, was something I wanted to do. One truck turned into two turned into three. Next thing you know, we had a fleet of vehicles.
I gotta ask you this though, bro. Like, I don't know how you did this, bro. Like, I know you talked about the one truck, the two truck you had, but you had the whole city turn their trucks to back to new. Like, how did you paint the vision or the picture? Like, what was that structure like? Because when I saw, I'm like, yo, even this dude got a lot of trucks, or everybody and their mama just started to be back to new. Like, how was you able to do that?
No, it was like pretty much like, I read a lot of books being away. Yeah. And it was like
one of your favorites.
One of my favorite books. It's a lot of them, but it was one of them that was like, it's Psychology of Color. So I created a color brand that people will always remember. Yeah. So we took it and we branded it. Yeah. At the time I had a partner, he had a vision, I had a vision. We tried to come together to create like a crazy idea. Yeah. And people thought that we had a whole lot more trucks than we did, but we didn't. We just they never stopped moving. So they would just ride up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And we 1 truck, and then 2 truck, then 3 truck, then 4 truck, and then eventually we had quite a few trucks. But we wanted to make sure them trucks was always around. So if you needed something, it was always going to be there. And we wanted to create a brand where it would be recognizable. So we did that.
So we went from the tow trucks. I'm assuming you're moving all these cars and you're taking these cars to body shops in different places.
Yeah, when we first started, you know, my partner, he already had a body shop. His dad pretty much had a body shop. And we wound up partnering up. For me, I had to pretty much fake it till I made it. I remember the first shop that I got, I rented it. You know, I put a sign out. There was nothing inside. It wasn't a screwdriver inside. Wow. I had enough money just to barely put a sign up on the wall. I remember me getting the price quote, it was like 20 grand. I was like, I ain't paying that. I got some cardboard, 10 sheets, got some paint. We painted the sign up, nailed it to the wall. I got 1 digital sign for like $500, printed up there, called the phone company, got a phone number. That's all we had. We printed some agreements. I started bringing cars in. First tow truck wasn't even a tow truck. It was like pretty much like a dually. I lettered it up. I put lights on it. It looked like a tow truck, but it wasn't. But the average person that crashed, they didn't know because we came in with lights and they're like, okay. And we pretty much pulled up to the scene, signed the car up, and they're like, all right, well, the truck is going to be here. They're like, hey, what do you mean the truck's going to be here? Nah, this really ain't a tow truck. This is a roadside assistance truck. Truck is on the way. And I'm calling you, Neo, like, Neo, I need your tow truck. Come here right now. Wow. So we kind of like started just, you know.
Figuring it out. Making it a way. Making a way. Yeah. Hey, thank you so much for tuning in this episode. I hope you're getting extreme amount of value. I want you to go ahead and comment below. Share with me your biggest takeaway. In addition to that, my #1 goal is for me to be able to grow all of my social platforms so I can give you info, insight, strategy, and gain from every platform there is. So take a minute to follow me on Instagram @NeoDavis. So same exact name on Twitter, same exact name on TikTok, and follow me on LinkedIn @Nehemiah Davis. I would love for you to be able to be tuned into my articles and everything that I drop relating to helping you get to that next level in your life. Tune in. So then you graduated and got your own body shop.
Yeah. So eventually, me and my partner, we went into partnership to build the business. Eventually, we wound up separating. I wound up going into another building. I learned a lot in the business when we was in the partnership, and then I kind of expanded into owning the body shop and just full-fledged in the operation.
Right. So you went tow truck to body shop, then you goes to recycling.
Yeah.
Tell me about what is recycling, bro? Like, because there's so many, I didn't realize, like, one of my big ways that I was making money, I wasn't really making money, but I was scrapping metal. I was literally, I had a schedule, bro. I knew Mondays was West Philly scrap metal up Overbrook Park, Lamberton section. Yep. I know Tuesdays was up where I live, 65th and Lebanon. Right, I knew all these different, South Philly might have been third, and I was just driving around.
What you realize, it was something bigger than just you. It was like waste management. It was a big system. Yeah. So all these systems work with bigger systems like Nucor and United States Steel. You got big corporations that run the world. So steel, metal, big industry. What happened with me was we used to get so many crash cars, no coverage. So what happened was 90% of the people that was crashing, they didn't have insurance and they had no intention on getting the vehicles. So every time we looked up, hey, we got another 100 cars. Hey, we got another 200 cars. And I started selling them to scrap yards, but they wasn't paying me proper. So I'll take a car to the scrap yard. They're like $200, $300. I'm like, bro, no way. Yeah. So I was like, you know what?
And I was gladly trying to get $200-300 for cars I found.
Exactly. Yeah. So I start teaching myself, I start educating myself. I start doing the research. I start going to conventions. And I'm like, all right, this is a business. So what I did was I had to go through all the trials and tribulations to figure out how can I get more money out of the vehicle. And like I said, going to the conventions, reading on it. I remember I used to YouTube certain things and Google certain things and couldn't find answers. Because it's different names for different metal through different phases as it goes through the process. So I was like, okay, I started teaching myself and I said, okay, it's a business here. So what I did was I figured out a way to help all the other people that was in the tow industry how to make more money out of their scrap. And like I said, I pretty much invested into all the equipment that I needed. And I didn't finance, I just hustled up the money to buy the equipment, because if I bought the equipment, I did all the work myself. So I was able to share the proceeds and the profits with the person that was doing business with me. So I was able to beat the competition because it's like, hey, look, man, I run a full-fledged operation with 3 people. And it's like, I don't care. We're going to work all day, all night, as long as we process the scrap and we get it. Because the way scrap go is you got clean, you got dirty. If it's clean, you get paid more. If it's dirty, you get paid less.
Clean, is that considered, or that's not clean? That's the copper, or that's precious?
It can be anything.
Okay.
So it's not more so precious. It's just metal in particular. So if you got aluminum,
clean is raw, like straight. Like,
no, it's pretty much the mill got specifications on how they take the product.
Got it. Okay.
So you pretty much going by what they tell you the way they want the metal handled. So like certain pieces of metal say, look, it can't be bigger than 2 feet.
Yeah.
Somebody bringing a piece that's in 10 feet. They don't got a torch. They can't cut it. They don't got a shear. So you're buying it for cheaper, and then you're processing it to the specifications, and then you're selling it for a higher amount of money.
Right. This seemed pretty deep. So what would, if you're telling somebody to get in the industry now, what should be the first step that somebody should take? Should it be tow truck? Should it be body shop? Should it be scrapping? And I know you talk about this going to go get cars. So like, what would be the first step? I want to get in this industry. What would I do?
It's so many different levels, and it's so big. You got to figure out what are you comfortable with. Like, I recommend everybody should have a tow truck. And if you can't afford a tow truck, then you need to be in a partnership with somebody that got it. So you got to figure out where you at in life and where you want to be. You got the same way you guys said you got to create that plan. You got to figure out where you want to be. Right. So like, if you don't got no money, you got to start with nothing. I say go partner with a tow company. Figure out how you guys can help each other. You can go knock on doors and go hit driveways and, hey, look, I work with my cousin that owns a tow company. We'll offer you this amount of money for this junk vehicle. At first, you don't got nothing, but you can make a commission off every car that you bring in. And that tow company will work with a scrap company. So it's like, it's phases. As you build yourself up and invest into equipment, you're going to make more money.
So that's one of the ways. So partner with the tow truck, get in there. So now I want to go start with a lot. Like, you got a lot.
Yeah,
like,
it's everything is based off of relationships. Even if you want to do parking lot enforcement, you got to talk to the property.
I like remember I talked to you about, tell me about how to get in parking lot enforcement. I remember we talked about it. Pretty much like
every city got like a license or whatever the case might be. They got requirements. Car got to be ticketed. City got to come out if it's a private lot. You know, they got different rules on how they do it. But you got to work with the property owner. Property owner got to give you permission to put your signs on their property. Yeah. And most of the time they want somebody to go through the parking lot, make sure they got permits and stuff like that to be on the property. And it's a good business. It's a great business. Like I said, it requires truck, equipment. Yeah. It's like so many different ways. Like
how you decide what to charge for that?
It's regulations. Every city got regulations on what they can charge. Okay. So you just pretty much follow their guideline on what they can charge in each city or each county. And you know, you put your sign up on the property, you show the rates, and then you give them a phone number. And as you take the car, you pretty much take it to your lot. They got to pretty much come pay the bill.
You know, there's no regulation on. I was looking on Instagram. Alex in this city, they can charge when they go tow a
heavy.
A heavy.
Yeah, it's not regulated.
It ain't regulated, bro. They charged my man. It was like 18 miles, like 6,500 or something. Yeah, crazy.
Because normally it's like the second that they start their truck, they get the bill from the time that they start the truck to the time they come back. Supervisor. There's a lot of different things.
Right. Yeah. That allows you to
very, very lucrative business, but it costs quite a few.
It costs a lot to get in the business.
Yeah, most likely a truck $500,000 to get into that type of business.
Wow. So you already need funds for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is these type business you also recommend leveraging credit and stuff like that?
Me, I believe different. Like a lot of people jump into the game based off credit. If you make some mistakes, man, you out of business. I remember when I first had my first truck, it was like in 1990. Everybody was laughing at me. I said, listen, man, I ain't never see a person that was broke down on the side of the road deny a tow. And he's like, huh? Right. I don't care what it is. You want to get off that highway. Right. You're going to get in that truck.
That's facts.
So I built my business based off of debt free. I started with an old truck. I made some money. I got a newer truck. Made some more money, got some newer trucks. Once I learned the business and I was comfortable knowing what I can make, then I started financing trucks. But like you said, you know, the most average person, when they break into these businesses, they're not knowing like the whole idea of how business works. So if I was you, I would learn it with a used truck. And as you get better and you learn how to make money, then go into a new truck.
Got it. What's some other ways we could generate some income with this recycling?
Like you said, you used to go out and scrap on certain days. That's a way to make money. There's a lot of metal out there, bro. Yeah. There's demolition contracts,
government contracts.
Government contracts. It's so many different ways. Like you got precious metals, you got coppers, you got aluminum, you got pig iron, you got shreddable steel. You got to figure out how to get the material. Yeah. Once you get the material, that's a demand in itself. Yeah. Then you got to figure out who to sell it to.
Right.
So,
because I remember you said, "Yo, we building up these piles of metal, like I don't know, barrels or something like."
Yeah, that's precious metal. So like, that's a big industry. Like, and it's very, very like lucrative. But you got to be careful with how you do business in that, because there's a lot of theft in the Cadillac converters. Yeah. So for me, I don't like to buy from the public. I won't. I only buy whole cars. Yeah. So that I know exactly where the car came from. I can trace it back to it. And then I did wind up buying a plant to process the platinum and stuff. So pretty much I decant. So I'll take a Cadillac converter. I'll take it. I'll cut it.
Is platinum in there?
Yes, platinum, palladium, and rhodium.
Okay.
Yeah. So that has to get refined. Normally it takes a while to refine. I think it's like 120 days. But they'll pay us off the samples depending on how much material we use. A lot of the companies like Toyota and stuff like that requires minimum of a couple £1,000. So a lot of times we have to broker through a company, let them make a percentage of it until you build your volume up.
Got it. Let me ask you this, bro. Your work ethic, how did you develop it? Because I can hear start tow trucks, do all of this, go door to door. If you ain't got no work ethic, if you ain't got no grit, if you don't got no, I got to go make this happen, it ain't going to work. Like, how did you develop it? Did somebody teach you about work? Because I don't feel like everybody got work ethic.
No, I've been like that since I was a kid, man. I used to wash windows. I used to squeegee on the highway. I did the cutting grass, whatever I can do to make some money. I like to always feel like I was dependent upon myself. Ever since I was a kid, I had money compared to my friends, but I grew up in a poor environment. So that was like my freedom. So the more money I had, the more freedom I had. So it's like, okay, I can do this. I remember my brothers and friends coming to borrow money for me to buy a car when I was in the 7th grade. I'm like, all right, well, let me see what the car looked like. Right. I seen the car was nice. I'm like, I'm gonna give you the money under one condition. Mm-hmm. I'm buying that car. Yeah. Y'all got to find another one. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I bought the car, whatever the case might be. I couldn't even drive. I made them drive me around.
It's crazy.
And I always liked the power of money. Yeah. So I always had to figure out, how can I get money? And the harder I worked, the more money I got. Right. So it's like, okay. And then I always knew that I wanted to live. I knew it was another way. I remember I was playing basketball as a kid. I had a coach, and he used to come back into the projects. I grew up in South Philly, and he had a Benz. It was like, damn, coach pulling up in the Benz. He's come yell at us. Yeah. He was giving me tough love. Yeah. I'm like, one day I'm gonna get a Benz. Yeah. So it was like, I had to get a Cutlass first. Yeah. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I had an old Lincoln, but one day I was gonna get that Benz.
Lincoln what? Kind of number?
No, Lincoln Town Car, 1990.
Oh, I had the Town Car too. Yeah. I had a 94.
My joint was so raggedy. Cop pulled me over one day. Said, man, get that joint off my highway, man. Right. If I take this joint. Right. I was like, damn. Yeah. Got off the highway. That was one of my first. That was like one of my first second cars. Yeah. I mean, but like, powerful. I knew that if I work hard, you can play hard. Yeah. So like for me, this is how I look at life. I lost a lot of years getting into trouble. So it's like, okay, how can I get my time back? So for me, I said, look, man, the average person work eight hours a day. If I work 16, can I get my time back? I lost them years. So that was my plan. So I said, if I work 16 hours a day, I get all my time back. So I started forcing myself to work 16 hours a day. And it became easy to me. I started getting real good at it. I said, yo, if I can push myself to just work a little bit more, it's like getting 3 hours or 3 days of work done in one. Right. So that's how I start pushing myself. And once I start seeing the rewards, I'm like, I like this. You're not even paying attention for real. You just working. Yeah. You love to work.
And you love what you do though.
Yeah, you love what you do. It don't feel like work. It don't feel like work. It's like, okay, I set out a goal. I never miss my target. I just keep hitting it. Mm-hmm. And then you realize, I remember like, I can't wait till I make a dime. Can't wait till I make my first 100. Then you make it, it's like, oh, this don't even feel like nothing. Yeah. It feel like the dime. Yeah. So now you working and you you want more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Hey, you're looking at this and you're probably enjoying this episode and the strategies and the gems that I give you. This is just a fraction of what you learn in my mastermind, right? I would love for you to be able to learn more information on how he's able to help Carter Cofield make $1 million in one single day, how he's able to help Rochelle Parks make over $500,000 in a day, learn how he's able to help Tevin grow his Instagram following from 70,000 followers to upwards to 200,000 followers within 2 months. And again, those results are not typical, let me be very clear, but they are possible for those who are willing to put work in, energy, and effort. If you're looking at this video right now, I want you to go to the website mastermindwithneo, NEO.com, so you can apply to see if you're a good fit for our mastermind. This is specifically for someone looking to grow their digital business, right? Even though y'all probably even know David Shan, Sleepers for Suckers. He's inside of my mastermind. You probably know Sonya, the student loan doctor. He's inside of my mastermind. You probably know Darius Daniels. He's inside of my mastermind. Those are just a few more people who are absolutely crushing it as a result of being inside of the community. So listen, if you're looking at this, right, and you're probably looking at the episode like, man, you're dropping so much gems, but can you imagine how many gems you'll get when you're actually inside of the environment, when you're tapped into the community? What I want you guys to go to right now is mastermindwithneo.com, so you do not miss out on your opportunity to get tapped in. You will have to apply, you will have to get on the call, and hopefully you make the cut to be a part of what we got going on. I'll see you on the inside. Let's get back to the episode. What's some mistakes you would say people need to avoid? Maybe share one from towing, one from recycling, one from body shop. What's a mistake that it could have happened, or something you just warning people, yo, avoid this. Don't do this when you're getting started with towing.
I think one of the mistakes is like, don't be afraid to ask for help.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Yes.
I learned a lot from you. I learned a lot from a lot of my friends. When somebody's good at something, don't have pride, don't have ego. Just go ask for help.
Yep.
Because you wasting time. You can't
get it back.
You can't get it back. If you lost a year trying to learn something, that could have been a year compounded on doing it the right way. That could have set you 2 years ahead of everybody else. I feel like the first one in is always going to be the one that's in charge, and you're going to do the best. When everybody else come in after you, now it's saturated. We deal with that in any city. Somebody see you doing something, and it's like it's working, and now everybody want to do the same thing because, hey, they knew you. They went to school with you. I remember that guy always started that, but they not you. Yeah. You understand? You deal with that a lot. You first one in, you master it, you learn it, you take your L's. Okay, this don't work. I'm gonna try it this way. It's school for you, for real. But like, the faster you can learn how to take advantage of any system or any business, the better off you're gonna be.
That's a fact, bro.
Yeah.
I be telling people that, bro. Like, yo, find a coach, find a mentor, find somebody that can help you get there quicker, bro.
I felt like you was the best person that did it. Like you. I'm a visionary, so if I can't envision it, I can't do it.
Right. Yeah, and you got a crazy vision too, bro.
And we talked about this back in 2016?
Yeah.
Everything I told you I was going to do, did I not do?
Yo, you did it.
Yeah.
I remember doing one of our interviews at the body shop. Yeah. Yeah, I remember that, bro.
You had a little cuz shooting with you. You know what I mean? You had your silk shirt on.
Yeah.
And we were shooting, and you like, and I showed you my vision. And
you was
like,
going crazy too.
I was going crazy.
Yeah. That's when we was on the rooftop. We doing this.
Everything that I said I was going to do, I did.
Facts. Yeah. There's power in that though, but you got to be willing to commit. Most people aren't willing to give it everything they got.
Everything didn't work, but I tried it. And it was a lesson to everything that I did.
Yep.
So like now it's like, okay, I don't want to do that. That ain't what I want to do. And then you realize you might have been basing your decision on what you knew at that time. You know what I mean? Like, I love when you call and you invite me and I come to Atlanta and I put myself around like-minded people. Because now my vision go deeper.
Yep.
And it's like, yo, I never wanted to leave Philly until I came to Atlanta.
Yep.
And I experienced it. And I'm in the process of looking for a house in Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's like that's what
environment.
Environment.
Exposure equals expansion.
Exactly. Like I watched you, I watched the other couple people put themselves around different people.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't want to be the strongest person in the room.
No, heck no. And I be telling you that about you being in Philly. Like, bro, you one of the sharpest dudes out here, and ain't many people sharper. And that's a problem. That's not it's not a badge of honor.
No, I know. Like, I sit back and I think about Philly. I felt like I tried to get every bit of money that was in Philly.
Yeah.
Now I feel like it's time to go get some money somewhere else.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I'm finishing my properties here and I'm liquidating.
So what would you say what's next? Are you recycling in other cities or what?
1,000%. I'm looking to purchase a recycle company right now in Atlanta. And I'm looking at their systems and the way they doing business. And I'm like, okay, it's room right here. But so recycle started on the East Coast and the West Coast. So the biggest recyclers, you got Adam Weinstein, you got George, or whatever the case might be. These guys really figured out how to make all the money in the recycle industry. But as it went out to the South, it wasn't access to the docks and the ports. And depending on where you at, it costs more to inbound your traffic or your metal or get it out. So like all these different factors, it's opportunity there. A lot of people didn't invest into state-of-the-art equipment. They got eddy current machines that could pull out plastics and certain type of metals as they process. Big companies, they invest the money. So they seeing it all.
Yeah.
But the people that's out in the country, they ain't really paying attention. They still asleep. There was no innovation there.
Yeah. And there's not many people at a high level. You ever met with Richard Burns? They go crazy too, right?
They definitely going crazy. But like I said,
they not on Adam level, right?
No, Adam, that's the big guy, man.
Yeah, different level.
Different level. Like he's one of the biggest independent recyclers in the game.
Wow.
So it's only two guys that's like huge like that actually own their own company, and they can supply. They can say, look, man, we're not making no cars right now. They can slow metal up. They can slow supply and demand up. That's how much metal they're moving.
Wow.
Yeah,
and that's where you're going. That's
so he's my role model. I want to own a shredder. I want to be barging and pitting railroad cars of 200-300 carts of metal. You know what I mean?
That's how he doing it.
Yeah, he doing it on the highest level. So like that's my goal. I wanna do everything on the highest level. I learned the industry. It's an industry that was closed out to a lot of different people. Normally the people that's in it been in it for 4 or 5 generations.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, this is opportunity. If I work hard, I got potential to be as big as I want to be. When I think about business, I think about the Google way. Larry Page, I remember reading this book. It's like, I don't want to do nothing that has a cap on. I want to do something like tow trucks here in Philadelphia. How many people need a tow? How many accidents in a day?
A lot.
Yeah, but it's limited to. They can count. Right. They can say, okay, what's 300 accidents a day?
Yeah.
I want something that got 3 million.
Wow.
So that's where I'm going at. If I can just invest in myself and invest in the right equipment and build my infrastructure, I think I can do well in there. That's why I picked that business to take in another city to expand.
Powerful, bro. Listen, man, I appreciate you coming on here, just sharing some game, man. We gonna come kind of do. I gotta come get some. I want to come to the plant and
I
get some videos.
I want to put you in the machine, man. I want you to rip a car apart.
Oh yeah. We gotta do that.
I mean? You know machinery.
Yeah.
I remember you having your dump truck. I want you to flip it.
Oh, what?
Take it, put it in the air, 30 feet, spin it around, crush it.
Yeah.
Take some frustration out on that metal.
Yeah, I can't wait. Bro, thank you, man. I'm so proud of you, man. And I'll let everybody know how they could tap in with you.
You guys can follow me on Instagram, Mr. Hustle for a Purpose. You know what I mean? I'm trying to do better with the social media.
He working on it. We gonna get him right, y'all. And he gonna have a way to help y'all get to the recycling.
Yeah, I feel like I could teach anybody in the industry how to make money. If you don't got pride, you don't got ego, and you're willing to work hard, you can make it. There's no rules to make it in life. That's my theory. I feel like you gotta vision what you want. You gotta know what you want. You gotta sacrifice in the beginning because that's the only way you're really going to truly win. So if you put some hard work, you create a plan, you execute that plan, and it allocates your funds right. That's important, bro. When we started on a lower level. Yeah. We didn't go buy rollies in the beginning.
No, heck no.
It took us years to get that stuff.
That's a fact.
So we invested into ourselves and our equipment.
Yep.
Our craft, our team. I love my team. My team, I wouldn't be where I'm at if it wasn't for my team. I got some good people around me. You know what I mean? My network is crazy. You don't never know who I know.
Yep.
If I'm buying steel from Fazio's or if I'm at the concrete plant, I'm calling Bill from Casting Materials. Yep. My network is the most important thing. And you would say the same, right?
That's a fact. It's everything.
We're in one of your people's office right now shooting just because your network is crazy.
That's it, bro. I couldn't find a place. I said, Bill, he said, come shoot in my office. And bless us with his team to help and everything.
And guess what? You bring your friends with you. And we here, bro.
We outside.
I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Y'all, we see y'all in the next episode. Peace.
Yep.